Hi everyone, Sandy Sidhu here. Welcome to another episode of The Unstoppable Entrepreneur. With me today I have Nicole Longstreath of the Wardrobe Code, she is a wardrobe strategist, and she's going to talk about that today and how she got started in her business and all the wonderful things she's learned along the way. So welcome, Nicole.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So what exactly, I love the title of your website, the Wardrobe Code, and I love that you're a wardrobe strategist. Do you want to tell us a bit about that and your journey?
Right. Well, I call myself a wardrobe strategist instead of a wardrobe consultant because a lot of my clients need to make strategic decisions about their wardrobe. They might not have a whole lot of extra cash. They might be on a budget. So they need to be very strategic about what they're bringing into their wardrobe. So I help them to find, first of all, what their style is and what that translates into a wardrobe and what to buy.
I could see that as a dilemma I face. You open the closet and it's like, okay, what do I wear? And once you start working from home, it's easy to kind of let that slide. But I know, and I'm sure you can agree, that dressing to feel like you're working makes a big difference versus just putting on those sweats or those Lululemons day after day. So how did you kind of get started? Want to talk a little bit about your background and how you kind of transitioned to working with clients online?
Sure. My background actually doesn't really have much to do with fashion or style at all. I do have a background in interior design, so that's kind of where I was when I started moving towards where I'm at now. I had a corporate job, and I was working full-time, and I really wanted to spiff up my wardrobe. I've always loved fashion. I've always loved style, but I just never really knew how to make it work for myself. So one year I ended up getting a really nice holiday bonus, and I decided that, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to go out, I'm going to spiff up my wardrobe, I'm going to build up my wardrobe. But a couple of bills hit. I think maybe it was like a car repair or something like that. And what went from being a nice fat 4-figure bonus came down to about $300. So I had $300, but I still needed to improve my wardrobe. So I was driving around town, and I noticed there was a Goodwill of Orange County in my neighborhood in Costa Mesa, California, and it's right next to Newport Beach, so it's kind of a nice area. So I thought, I'm going to go into that Goodwill and see if there's anything in there that I can find for myself. And sure enough, long story short, after 6 months of shopping only at Goodwill, I improved my wardrobe. I had a brand new wardrobe. It was new to me. I loved everything that was in it. It cost me about $500 total. It took me 6 months. And I went from looking at my closet every morning when I was getting dressed, thinking I have nothing to wear, to being excited about getting dressed, which for me was a completely foreign concept. And in the meantime, I didn't just learn how to shop a thrift store. I learned how to build wardrobes. So then my friends started asking me for help. And when I was kind of working with my friends just for fun, that's when I realized there's a lot of mistakes that women are making. There's a lot of self-limiting beliefs that we have. And then that's just really how I got started. And I became so passionate about helping these women figure out what their style was and figure out exactly what needs to be in their closet and then on their body, that I decided to do it full time.
Awesome. I love those stories. You often hear the success stories start, scratching your own itch, solving your own problem, and then your friends start to take notice and they're like, hey, she knows what she's doing, and how come she looks so great every time she leaves the house while I have to run to the mall every single time I have an outing? Because you buy those one-off things that just kind of look great that one time, and the next time you can't really build on it. So that's really cool. So I guess that's when you launched your website and your blog. Do you want to get into how that started?
Right. I think the hardest thing for me was coming up with a name. I had a couple of ideas in the beginning. I wanted something that wasn't necessarily related to fashion, because again, what I do is not really about fashion. It's really more about personal style and what's right for the individual. So I wanted there to be an emphasis on doing something that was right for you, right for the environment. So I came up with a couple of different names. I think one of them was Conscious Curated, and I just realized that wasn't going to work. It's kind of a mouthful. So I just kind of thought on it for a while. I know that I booked my own name as a domain, but I don't remember exactly how it came to me. But I thought, the Wardrobe Code. It's kind of like cracking a code, but it's different for everyone. And it was a soft rhyme, and the domain was available with the .com, and I figured it was meant to be. So I started out with just getting a name. I actually started out on Squarespace. That didn't have the capability that I wanted it to do, so I just went back to WordPress. I had a blog before, and it was on WordPress. So I just went back to WordPress, and it was just much easier to do it that way. And then from there, I just kind of figured out what my service offerings were going to be. I don't work as a traditional stylist or wardrobe consultant, although a lot of my services are very similar. So I had to figure out, who am I going to serve? How am I going to serve them? Is this different than the way that a wardrobe consultant normally would? And if it is different, how do I play that up so that I can attract the right type of client? And really defining that client, not just demographics, but psychographics. Like, what keeps them up at night? What's in their head? How are they thinking? That's really what helped me find that client and work with who I really want to work with.
I love that, because everything you're saying can apply to any industry or any demographics. Anyone who's listening to this who may not necessarily be going into sort of doing something similar to what you're doing can still take that advice and go, you know what, yes, I want to offer social media services. What are the pain points that people have? What keeps them up at night? What gets them frustrated? So I like that, you kind of broke that down and started that path. But at the same time, you were probably already consulting your friends and building a name for yourself, and not letting all that kind of stop you before you put that into place.
Yeah, and I just want to give a shout out to the Middle Finger Project, which is, I believe her name, I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, but it's Ash Amberge, I believe, or Ash Ambers. She has two really great products, Clients in Cash and Products in Cash. And those two products, combined with a workshop that I went through with a group that I belong to in Orange County called Smarty, really helped me figure out who that client was. And specifically, Ash helped me figure out, her products helped me figure out how to reach that client, especially on the internet. Because, if you have a service, you can only go so far in your geographical area, and opening it up to the internet just kind of seemed like a no-brainer.
That actually leads to sort of like my next question, and for sure I'll link up. I read the Middle Finger Project as well. I love, her stuff just jumps off the website, and you kind of just like, wow, this girl's awesome. So I'll definitely link that for those who aren't familiar with her work. So once you kind of realize, you've covered your area, you started offering services, when did you decide that, okay, you know what, I'm taking my website beyond my local area and really going, global or going national? What were the next steps that you took?
I had a program that it was more than a blog. It was more than just some sort of digital download. It was actual virtual coaching. So initially I thought, okay, I have this system that I don't just want to coach women. I want to teach them how to be their own stylist. Because if I can do it, not really having any sort of fashion training or kind of having this lifelong struggle of figuring out what looks good on myself, if I can figure out how to be my own stylist, then I know I can teach other women how to do this. They just have to have that desire to learn something, to learn a skill, to put in the work, the homework to do it. So I started beta testing this program that I call Style Camp. And I did 2 rounds of beta testing late last year. So it must have been, to answer your question, when did I do this? Taking it, it's actually international. I have clients in Australia and the UK, and then of course all across the United States, and I believe in Canada too. It was late last year. So I started beta testing this virtual coaching program. I would send them this kind of PDF workbook that I had, and we would meet every week, or it's a 4-module course. So we would meet about every week, and I would just kind of guide them through that process. And it was so much fun to work with people who came from literally all different places, all different walks of life. Although a lot of my clients are similar in that they're solopreneurs, they're freelancers, they still had different challenges. They all still had different things going on. So that's really how I kind of reached out beyond my geographical area. So that was last year, and just in January I started offering the program to the public.
Awesome. Yeah, I've seen, I'm subscribed to your newsletter, which I love reading. I think I've just been on it for like the last few weeks, but I love the way you present that. So if I understand correctly, so Style Camp, when you beta tested this, is this sort of done in a community format? So when you're delivering the courses, are they like live calls, or how are you sort of getting that content out to the people?
So what I do is I basically give my clients homework. I give them a PDF workbook. They have some kind of pre-call homework that they have to work through. And their first step is to kind of assess what's going on in their wardrobe, and then we just kind of go through the process from there. But then after they complete a module, then we meet, just like you and I are meeting now via Skype, and we talk about their experience. There's a couple of things that they have to submit to me before we talk, which is like some photos of different things, a photo of their closet, a diagram, how it's worked up. Because actually some clients, I've had them rearrange their closet a little bit to make it work for them. It doesn't always happen like that, but I really have to know what's going on because I can't be there physically. And the great thing about that program is that we work through it over 4 to 6 weeks. So it's one thing for me to go work with a client locally just in an afternoon. I'll organize their closet, I'll edit it, we'll make outfits, we'll talk about their style, but that's just one afternoon. Most people that I've worked with, most clients really actually prefer to have the experience stretched out over 4 to 6 weeks so that it really soaks in and they really make it part of their routine and part of what they're doing every day.
That's really cool, and I love the idea of the fact that you beta test it. You're talking to a techie, so all this world of releasing software, beta testing, that's all like music to me, and it's cool to see that model applied to different industries where you kind of come out with sort of that minimal viable product or that thing that you kind of solves that core problem, and then you see how are people reacting to it, and then like you mentioned, you're taking it public to the masses like you just did a few weeks ago. So now it's kind of gone through all that testing. So can I ask you, what were some of the biggest challenges that you had when you were thinking of launching that beta program? Was it technology related, or was it more just getting the word out? Or there were no challenges at all?
Well, of course, it was definitely challenging. And I think before you take any program to the public, you definitely have to test it. You're charging for something specific. Let me back up a little bit. We live in an age where things are changing so fast. And it's really to our benefit. It really is that we can reach anybody we want to reach over the internet. But with that said, if you're going to create a product and sell it to people, you really do have to beta test it. If it's not something that you see a lot of people doing and you can just kind of copy the format, you really do kind of have to beta test it so when you're ready to sell it, there's very few bumps along the road. There can be as smooth a process as possible. But as far as challenges in launching this product, I think that initially the challenge really was to figure out, okay, how do I take this method and translate it into something that someone can teach themselves, or I can guide them through it, but it's something that they can actually do in their own home. Even if the program that I offer, you have the option, it's the same program either way, but you have the option of either meeting with me 4 times after each module or 2 times. You save money if you do it 2 times, but you just meet with me less. But I wanted to be able to offer that program for people who could only do the 2-time option, but they still get the same benefits of the program because they're working through it. So I think it was just translating my method into like a workbook that somebody else could open the pages of and implement right away.
Cool. And I think also the other added benefit of beta testing, you get those early adopters, those people who, they're going to be your cheerleaders and know, hey, and kind of you set the expectation that, there may be a few kinks in the program, but, you're working it out. Either you offer it a little bit of a discount or some kind of arrangement like that. But then, like you said, once you're ready to go public with it, you've already got like a bunch of testimonials. You're not just kind of going, okay, I hope things work out, and you've got that support behind you. So I really like that approach to things. Now that the product's launched, do you see yourself getting at requests for new products or add-ons or other spin-offs? Like, from what you've learned, what do you see moving forward?
Yes, I think that my clients are perennially pressed for time. I think that they have a desire to always be improving, always be learning something new, always making themselves better. And the major challenge is that they just don't have the time always. And some of them might have an unpredictable schedule. They might be on call for their clients. They might have to, even though they might have an appointment set, they might have to rush out of the house to go take care of something. who knows? So in the future, there might be an option to just run through the program completely independently. And for that, I think what I'll probably end up doing is producing a set of videos so that you've got the workbook and you've got the videos that kind of guide you through each module that provide a little bit more, because we all communicate differently when we speak rather than when we write. So the videos would really offer a little bit more insight as to how things work, because then I can explain it kind of like I'm explaining it now, as opposed to writing it down in written format. And people learn differently too. Some people just really don't learn all that well by reading. They have to have someone explain it to them. So that might be an option in the future.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I think that's what's really cool about, iterating through your product. You don't have to necessarily have done all those videos and the PDFs and the workbooks for the first round, because again, you're still learning about your demographic and how they consume information. And it's nice to put that product out earlier, start to validate, earn some money, and then go, I can reinvest some more now, add those videos as I see that people are on the go or they want to consume things on their own time. Or you also find out that people want to be part of a community and connect with other people and learn about their fashion troubles and whatnot. So
right. I do have a companion community to the program. We have a completely private social network. It's removed from Facebook. So while they're going through the program, they actually get to share what they're doing with other people who are either going through the program at the same time or have gone through the program, just to see, what are other people doing? Like, this is my experience. This is what I've found in organizing my closet, editing my wardrobe, putting outfits together with what I already have in my closet. But it would be kind of nice to see what other people are doing. And I've been so pleased to see that all of the people who have gone through the program in that network are engaging with each other and learning from each other. And that's I think has been a great value add to the program, is having that social network.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I couldn't agree more. The programs that I've participated in, they may be more business related, but I always found that now I look for that extra community add-on, because it gives you that added benefit of connecting with other people who are kind of on that same journey as you. And, the organizer, you kind of act as that facilitator. At some point, it kind of has a life of its own, and you're just there to bring the people together.
Right.
Awesome. Well, it was, do you want to just tell us where we can find you online so people can connect with you?
Right. My website is thewardrobecode.com, and I'm on Twitter at The Wardrobe Code, and the same thing on Facebook, The Wardrobe Code.
Awesome. Well, I'll be sure to link that all in the notes. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today and sharing your valuable insights.
Thank you.